What's up guys, it's Mathilda, obviously, and today I'm going to share some embarrassing transgender story times. Fun! And believe it or not, but I actually have a few cringeworthy story times, or I don't have a few, I actually have many cringeworthy story times of me being transgender, but you know, nobody got time for that, so I'm just going to give you a few. And before we get into this video, don't forget to follow me on my socials. Instagram is the way to go, you know, fun time, and also don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe, and also hit the little bell icon to get future notifications and all of that. That really helps me a lot. But now let's get into these, you know, cringeworthy story times. So I have them all in my phone and I'm just going to get through them as quickly as possible because I don't want this video to be too long. The first embarrassing transgender story time is when I went to my little sister's preschool. This was really early on in my transitioning. I hadn't even transitioned yet. I was just on HRT. If you're not aware of what HRT is, it's hormone replacement therapy. And in my case, I went on testosterone blockers and estrogen. Long story short, I still lived as a boy. And one day I went to my little sister's preschool to pick her up. I went in as normal as any other day, and I went in and there was this little girl and she just kind of looked at me for a little while. She was very quiet and she just looked. And after a while, she said, "I don't know if you're a boy or a girl." And I was like, neither do I, honey. No, but honestly, all jokes aside, the reason why I still lived as a boy while being on HRT is I wasn't really ready to transition yet, and I just wanted to be passable as a guy and then transition overnight to be passable as a woman. So that is what I did. However, not that long after this whole ordeal, I actually transitioned because I was like, yeah, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Everything was kind of embarrassing and cringeworthy. I just hate it when kids do that. I mean, they're so honest. Aren't they cute? So this other story time also took place at a preschool. I was working at a preschool early on in my transitioning. I lived as a girl by this point, and I was just like talking to this kid about, I don't know, kid stuff. And another child just kind of went, "You sound like a boy." And I was just like, it was all kind of embarrassing. I was just like, okay, I'm sorry, like, do you want me to talk like this? Why are children so honest? Like, chill down, like, chill the f down, okay? You need to take a chill pill and you need to stop attacking people. Kids are just so plain rude, aren't they? No, I'm kidding. I know that they're just kids. I know that. Please don't cancel me. Next story time. And it was actually at my grandpa's house, and he's sadly not with us anymore. He passed away this summer. This was also pretty early in my transitioning. It was maybe like 7 years ago or something like that. And we had told him that I was transgender and I had like transition and everything like that, and he was okay with it. Like, he didn't have no problem with it whatsoever. However, he was kind of confused because he was old, but that wasn't really the problem. I'm going to tell you this story. So we had like a party at my grandpa's house, and there was a lot of people there. Most of the people didn't actually know that I was transgender. So, and he had quite poor eyesight, so once in a while he called me Emily, and that's my big sister's name, and he called me Emily, and I said, "No, I'm not Emily," and he was like, "Is it Marcus?" And I was like, "No, it's not Marcus, it's Mathilda," and he was like, "Where's Marcus?" And I'm like, "Marcus is dead, okay?" And all of the people around us kind of started looking, and I had to explain to him once again that I was Marcus, who had transitioned, and everyone around me looked at us, and I was like, yes, I'm a transgender. It was kind of embarrassing. I had to like out myself to everyone. I was like, I'm the trans kid, everyone, like, keep on partying, ignore me. No, but honestly, it was really embarrassing and cringeworthy. And I know, it wasn't really my grandpa's fault. I mean, he was old, he had a poor eyesight and everything like that, and he didn't really fully understand it at that point because it was so early on in my transitioning. However, now, before he passed away, he was really supportive and he understood everything about me being transgender, so it was just like in the beginning. But yeah, next story. And this next story is actually very short, but it's equally cringeworthy. I was just like walking downtown, making my way downtown, and I met a boy that I actually went to school with when I was also still a boy. And he didn't really understand that it was me, and I just completely forgot that I transitioned, or I just kind of expect that people still understand that it's me, even though I have transitioned. I mean, this was also a long time ago. Maybe I had been on HRT for around a year or something like that, and I saw him in the city, and I just went up to him and I said hi, and he turned around and looked at me, and he looked kind of confused, and I was just like, what's happening, what's going on in your life? And I saw in his eyes that he didn't recognize me, so he just went like, hi, and he just kind of looked me up and down, and he started answering my questions. However, I saw that he didn't know who I was, but he was just like, the eyes, he just like, yeah. And I just kind of like, it's me, Mathilda, Mathilda Hogberg. He just like, oh my God, hi, oh, whoa. And it was so awkward. I know he must have felt pretty confused and pretty like, yeah, it was all pretty embarrassing for him at least. And he just kind of backtracked, and he was just like, yeah, everything is fine with me. How's everything? Okay, I can see everything's doing great. Yeah, okay, bye. And I just like, we will probably never talk again. The next story time is pretty similar to this. I went downtown again. I was just like making my way downtown, and I saw an old teacher, and I was just like, hi! And he looked at me with the weirdest of eyes, and he just like stared at me like I was a complete fool, and just like walked past me. And he was my favorite teacher. The rudeness of it all, I understood that he didn't recognize me, but still, he could have said hi, even though he didn't know who I was. And he had been a teacher for like 10 years, so even if he didn't recognize me, he could have just like understood that I was an old student, and he could have said hi to be nice, but he didn't. And he was always nice to me when I was a boy, but now he was rude. He's sexist. Next story time is once I was at a party, and I started talking to this boy that I hadn't met him before. I didn't know who he was. It was a party at my friend's house, and I met this boy, and I started talking to him, and I could notice that he was, interested in me, still the eyes, yeah, you get it, girl. So we talked for a while, and then I, kept going, because on parties you talk to a lot of different people. And then I went back to him, and we started to talk again, and it was nice. We had a great time. And then he just like blurted out that like between the first and the second time I talked to him, he had talked to his friends, and they had said that I was actually transgender. And he just like blurted out, I know that you're transgender. And I was just like, yeah, okay, we're just talking, so yeah, okay, yeah, I know, I am transgender. And he started asking the most private of questions, like, what's between your legs, blah blah blah, are your breasts fake, and everything like that. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go now. Once I started to leave, he just like stopped me. I'm sorry if I'm rude, I'm drunk, I don't care. Like still, once we were talking, he just always kind of went back to me being transgender. Like every conversation, he just like went back to me being transgender. He was really like fixating on that. So I was just like, no, I don't think so. I'm just going to leave. And then I didn't like talk to him ever again. Okay, so this is actually the last story time of them all, and it's actually the worst one. It was so cringeworthy and embarrassing, and it was rude, okay? The other person, he was rude. When I went to uni, we had like groups, like we worked in groups, and the groups always like changed. So I was at this group, and we were, I don't know, like 4 people. And one of these people, I didn't like him. I didn't like him before, and I definitely didn't like him after what happened. So I had this friend, and she was like one of the only people that knew that I was transgender at uni. And she had like a bag and like the trans flag on the bag. He just started talking about trans people when we were working in the group. And he started saying that my friend was certainly transgender. And she's not. She's cisgender. But he was starting to talk about that she was transgender, and I just kind of sat there and I was like, no, she's not. And he looked at me, like dead in the eyes. He looked at me and he said, you are transgender. And I was just like froze in my tracks. I was like, it felt like my lungs collapsed. And then he started to laugh. He started laughing and he went like, no, I'm just kidding. You're not transgender because you don't look like Caitlyn Jenner. And I was just like, but back it up. Do you believe that I am transgender or not? And he's just like, I know that you're not transgender. Transgender people don't look like you. And he starts to talk about transgender people and how they look. He believed that my friend was transgender because the way she looked, and it was just like awful. And I was so confused, and it was all very embarrassing. And he didn't know. I didn't tell him that I was transgender, but the way he viewed transgender people was just like very transphobic. And it was apparent that he was a transphobe. And the way he talked about Caitlyn Jenner and my friend and transgender people, I just like, yeah, it was all very embarrassing. And I had to work with him for another 3 months before I could change group. So yeah, that was fun. He was, he was funsy. I really loved him. I think that was the last story time for today. And they were embarrassing, or at least they were embarrassing for me. And if you like this video, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, and also hit the little bell icon to get future notifications whenever I post. And if you want more videos like this, please comment below what kind of video that you would like to see. And so yeah. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.